I'm Tamika D. Mallory.
And it's your boy, Mysonne, the General.
We are your host of TMI.
Tamika and Mysonne's information, truth, motivation, and inspiration.
New name, new energy, but
same old us.
What's going on, Mysonne Lennon?
I am black, blessed, and highly favored today. How you feeling, Tamika?
Doing good. Thank God the weather is kind of trying to break.
It's trying
to break. Things are getting a little bit better. We really need that. You know, I think that part of why we see so much tragedy has to do with it was a real cold winter. People were like locked in again. People going through a lot. Folks not really working. People trying to figure it out. Every which way I turn, I have a friend or somebody telling me about, you know, losing income. Like it's just been a time. It's been a time. It is a time. And so with it being so cold, it was kind of like, it's almost like we were in a cold war. And so I know the weather will dip again, but at least it's not going into the 30s. And you know, it's just last week people said there was. Last week they said there was snow flurries in certain places. Like, come on. We can't do snow flurries in April. But you know what the thing is? Historically, April can still be cold. Like May, it can be a little nip, but better. Because I know my birthday, June 8th, it's chilly at night. It's not hot like summer, but you know, snow flurries is like, all right.
Yeah,
okay, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. God is not pleased. The Lord is not pleased. Anywho, let's jump right into it because we have a great guest coming up today and a lot of things to talk about. I want to give folks an update on the bridges and tunnels, the toll fees in New York City and you know, New Jersey, and hopefully some of the work that we do here in New York will be extended. And other folks can pick up the work and start a real national campaign to address the fees for tolls. Let me tell you, just as a personal note, in the process of what I've been going through with my toll situation, I told everybody about how the tolls are $300 and something, but the fees was like $1,600, $1,700. And, you know, obviously that has created a whole thing where the device wasn't working and, you know, and I didn't know it. And so I'm, you know, in the process of rectifying all of that. Now what I realize is that when in that gap where my device was not working, I got 2 tolls that came in. Remember, the whole thing was that after 60 to 90 days of not paying your toll, you would receive a fee. Right? And in fact, I'm going to make sure that an image of it is in this episode so people can see the dates. It says that, you know, and I'm understanding, this is what I've been told, that the fees are because 60 to 90 days have gone by and you did not pay. And therefore, they put the fee on. The assessment, administrative fees is tacked on to your bill. What I found in looking at, now I'm looking at it very, very closely, is that I went through the tolls on, I think it was April 5th. So this is now May when this show airs. But in the same month, I got a ticket that shows that, you know, there was 2 tolls that were not picked up by my device because the device was inactive due to all of the craziness. And the $50 fee is already on there in the month of April. So I'm not even sure how or what the actual rules are because these were violations, or they're not violations. I'm calling them violations because when you get something in the mail that's a ticket, you automatically consider it to be a violation, but it's actually their way of making you pay by mail for the tolls that did not get paid by a device. But the $50 is already there, and that's not 30 to 60 days. It's not 60 to 90 days. That is in the same month when the bill went out. It went out as $2.90, And again, it's not with me. It could have been $270, and you all will see. And then the $50 is there from the beginning. So I, again, am not even sure on the rules. With that being said, I went away for a few weeks and have been working on trying to figure out what are the different avenues and the different ways in which we need to advocate and fight. And what I have found is that the New York State Senate has a bill that is being led by one individual. And then, of course, in New Jersey, there is another individual who is working on that side, because you have to come at it from both directions in order to be able to address New Yorkers and people in the tri-state area. And I need to figure out what's going on in Connecticut, because it would be coming all the way down the thruway and, down into the Beltway. So we need to really kind of connect all the dots. But nevertheless, New Jersey and New York, Senator Martinez in New York, and I don't know the gentleman's name in New Jersey, are working on legislation on both sides of the bridge. So that is one thing. There is a bill. The bill was originally, as I mentioned before, the bill was originally drafted by Senator Leroy Comrie out of Queens. And now Senator Martinez is carrying that bill. Mm-hmm. But I've also found out that in the Assembly, Assemblyman Landon Dias, our brother, who I know very well, has a bill as well. And he reached out to me and let me know that he saw some of the coverage, that he's working on this as well. So what we're doing is planning a town hall. The first one is going to be virtual. We're going to give people an opportunity to tap in. Again, people from around the country who are trying to figure out what should they be doing, what should they be pushing their legislators to do, because this is an issue that has to be addressed at the state level. Mm-hmm. So the governor and the statewide elected officials have to be engaged in how to fix this. Yes, your city officials can raise it, they can advocate, but they are not the people who are mainly responsible for making the changes and for passing legislation that would fix it. This is coming from the state level. So this is a Kathy Hochul problem. We have to take it to her doorstep. And so we're going to have a town hall meeting so that we can allow people to hear from those who are carrying the bills, because the bills are slightly different. They're addressing everything from one, letting you know what the current issues are, because there's so many different issues. I mean, I'm now learning about people who have lost their registration. Some people have had their license plates, obviously, because of the registration. Their license plates have been revoked. I'm over here raising that. I'm seeing the fees in the same month that the actual toll was charged, right? So there are so many different issues. But then they're dealing with things like transparency, because where's the money going? Right? When all this money is collected, how is it actually working for the citizens of New York State and New Jersey? What are they doing with the money? They're also looking at reducing the fees and dealing with the predatory nature of how we are, as citizens, are being taken advantage of. So there's things in the bills that we want them to lay out. And then we want to, in the same time, have some of the lawyers who have fought cases to be able to speak on what people generally should be doing to try to help them alleviate, to have some of the lawyers to explain to us some of the different processes that they have gone through to help alleviate some of these huge fees, to let people know what some of their strategies have been to fight for clients and to help them. And so we want to have some lawyers come on and talk about that. And then, of course, we want to hear from some individuals who've had really bad cases and then what they've had to do to fight for themselves. And, of course, give out resources and information. So we're going to do a town hall meeting, and that will be coming up within the next few weeks. So folks need to stay in tune and, really stay close to our social media and make sure that information, that your job, you have one job, which is to share it and make sure that other people join the conversation so that they can hear about what's going on. We will also give instructions on what will happen at the next in-person meeting, because we're going to do something with New Jersey and New York. So we'll maybe do something here in New York and something in New Jersey, or we'll pick one of those two states that the legislators will come across the bridge, and that's always, it's not easy to do. It sounds easy, just drive over here, but it doesn't work like that, because on both sides you have people like, well, do it over here, do it over here. So we've got to figure it out to have something where both New Jersey and New York, the citizens, the constituents can participate, so we can be in person together and get our marching orders, which may include us having to organize people to go to Albany, to go to some of the legislators' offices, because what we want to know is who's supporting these bills. We think that every single legislator in both states should be signed on. So we're going to look at the bills and figure out who's blocking, who's supporting, because whoever is not on board for ensuring that this predatory, and you called it racketeering, a relationship with us, that the bridges and tolls have, that it stops. And, as I said, and you know what? We've got a million other things to worry about. So people are like, how? Like, this is damn right. Because guess what? When people are struggling financially, it makes us do other crazy things, right? It bleeds in other ways. We're trying to find ways to get ourselves out of hell. And instead, our local governments are driving us further into poverty, and that has to change. So I'm on it. I know people are like, what's the recourse? What is the plan? What are we doing? But when you're a real organizer, there's some actual work that has to happen behind the scenes. And I'm not saying that we can't advocate and get outside, because if y'all want to go to the governor's office, I'm ready. Let's go to Albany. I ain't been there in a couple of years, so I'm ready to go. So I'm not suggesting that we don't need to do that. But on this, we want to get legislation passed, real legislation. This is not, it's not a simple fix of they just going to change it, because they're not. They're making too much money. We have to get actual legislation passed that will help us to address this issue. So, we haven't stopped working since I mentioned it in season 5, and now we're in season 6, and we're back talking about how we are going to advocate for our government to stop. It has to stop. Like, people are saying that their bill is $50,000. That's ridiculous.
Yes, it's unreal.
It just is.
It just makes no sense.
It just is. So let me go to my thought of the day. I have so many topics, because I feel like things are going so crazy in our society that I could just talk and talk and talk and talk. But, I'm just, Lord, I feel like I have so many topics that I could just talk and talk and talk, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to narrow it down to one particular issue. When in the beginning, when Trump became president and they immediately began to attack diversity, equity, and inclusion, there were so many people who said, oh, this has nothing to do with us. This is not our issue. It has nothing to do with us. This is not about us, and you trying to trick us into believing, because you want to be a victim, and you want to trick us into believing that DEI is about us. And then people was out there with the stats. Well, no, because DEI actually benefited white women. It was, and Latino women and other groups. It never helped black people. It's nothing, and it ain't for us. And you trying to trick us, and we know better than that. And we not worrying about no DEI. I had people laugh at me. I had people like, you think we stupid? Like, you trying to make us chase DEI? DEI meant absolutely nothing. And we said on this show over and over. I said it everywhere I went, that yes, the numbers are always funny. When it comes to anything that was originally developed with us in mind, there's always other people who will benefit more than us. That's just the reality of something that we deal with. And I think it sucks. It's shitty. And absolutely, we should be calling it out. But I understood that when they said DEI, they meant black. They meant black. When they said that DI is now illegal, it's unconstitutional. I mean, they even tried to make an argument that it's unconstitutional, it's reverse racism. They did everything that they could to say if DEI exists, especially in a government agency or anywhere that gets funded from the government, that they would cut it even if they found out that you changed it to another name. So they encourage whistleblowers to come forward that would tell you that, oh, they still doing it, but they changed the name to this and they changed it to that. And I said, especially even in the fight with Target, that we need people to date us in public, right? We need people to say that we stand with you in public. We're not going to roll back our DEI initiatives. We're not going to change the name because I understood that it meant an attack on black people. Now, let me give you an example of why we now know. Robert F. Kennedy was before Congress last week. Congresswoman Summer Lee from Pennsylvania was questioning him.
About maternal health.
She was talking to him about black maternal health. She gave him the numbers, and it is clear that black women die during childbirth at higher rates than any other group of women.
It's a fact.
It is very clear. She went on to explain to him the dangers of black maternal health issues, and she challenged him on whether or not he would address black women and the, again, elevated rates of us and how we die in childbirth, during childbirth. He immediately said to her, when she asked him, what are you going to do about this issue? He said, well, we're going to address maternal health concerns for all communities. And she said, no, but all communities are not having the issue. She said, black women specifically have higher rates than any other group. What are you going to do about black women? And he said to her, do you think that DEI is right? He said, that's DEI. You talking about DEI. And she said, I'm not even bringing up DEI. I'm talking about black women. I'm telling you about, but he brought up DEI. And the reason why he brought it up is because he understands that diversity and equity and inclusion means black women. That's what he understands. Mm-hmm. He knows that from the meetings that he's been in. He said President Trump wants us to, it feels, and I agree with him, that DEI is divisive, and it's wrong and whatever. He went on to talk about that. She never asked him about DEI. She asked him about black women, but he put black women in that category with DEI because they understand that is precisely what they meant about when they decided to go through agencies and to encourage corporations and others to dismantle their DEI initiatives. They knew what they were talking about. They knew it was code language, and the code language has translated to probably more than 1 million black women being out of work. Somewhere now it's being reported that it's about 600,000, but we know that every person that's out of work is not being reported, right? We know that. We know that contracts have been cut. We know that funding to black organizations has been cut. We know people have had to close their doors. We know what's going on. We know that people are hurting. We know that budgets are being cut everywhere, that consultants no longer have work. We understand the type of industries that they have targeted. And so when people come at us and say, oh, DEI has nothing to do with us, this is not an issue. If it were not an issue that has to do with black people and black women specifically, why would he bring that up in the middle of this woman asking him, what are you going to do about black maternal health? These are not hypotheses. This is not a hypothesis. This is not something that she's making up. These are hard numbers. Women go in the hospital, a white woman, an Asian woman, whatever other kind of woman, maybe an Indian woman, they go in the hospital. A black woman goes in at the same time. Too often, the black woman doesn't leave the hospital the same way she came in. She leaves in a body bag. That's a real thing. There are numbers that makes it clear. So if I'm asking you as a person who is responsible for black health, right? No, for the world, the health of the nation, rather, the health of the nation, your job is to do research, data, numbers. You're supposed to be looking at trends. You're supposed to be looking at, are children catching these diseases? Is it elderly people? Is it women? Is it men? Men need, this kind of help. Yeah. Breast cancer may be rising in men of all races. I saw something the other day that says colon cancer. The number of young people between the ages of 25 and 40 is growing. So then what you do is you come out with special programs that's for a 25 to 40-year-old. You make sure that they see it if they on social media, if they're in colleges, if they go to nightclubs, if they listen to certain radio stations. That's what you do if you're a good leader.
Yeah, you got to focus on the directly impacted people of any situation. So when you're talking about black maternal health, and he acts like he doesn't understand that in order for you to actually focus on the issue, you have to focus on the individual that is facing the issue. So he wants to attribute it to DEI because he know that's the code language. He know that's the language that they speak in the back rooms. Like black women, the DEI, we getting rid of these black women.
Right.
So rather than, and then what he also saying is, we don't want to use DEI because we don't want to help black people.
And so at the core of my thought of the day is that the reality was that when they said we are making diversity, equity, and inclusion a bad word or a bad term, a bad thing, we're making it radioactive. What they were saying is we hate black women.
Yeah.
And we want to see the black community, which has the highest rates of supporting our opponents and supporting the other side. We want to see them broken. And so what we are going to do in order to break them is to look at how do they keep going? No matter what we've thrown at them over the years, somehow or another, black people find a way to still succeed, right? What is it? What are the things? Oh, they fund their little organizations. They have their advocacy groups. They have found a way to infiltrate all of the different areas within our government, whether it be local or on the federal level, and try to force these different agencies to focus on their needs. There's all this, as time has gone on, there's all this developed research that shows what they need, and now we as corporate leaders or we as government leaders have had to in some ways begin to acknowledge what has been done wrong. Like we've had to acknowledge the wrong, the harm that has been caused to their communities. And as a result of that, we are moving too far away from what we want, which is to make America great by restoring it to the nation that it once was. And that is the nation of white men being at the head and white women, and then of course people of color being beneath them and being servants to their needs and their goals and their success. That is what we have to do. And what happens is when black people have their backs up straight and they're working, and we still ain't nowhere near where we need to be, but there's enough success within our communities with black women being the fastest growing entrepreneurs, right? With black men, as we now know from the research, that black men are in their homes or dealing with their children, being fathers to their children more than any other race. That's not what you see on the news, but that is actually the facts. That's the data. Okay, so when you begin to see that, it's like, well, what do we do to break those communities in order for us to restore ourselves? We have always been their enemy. We have always been their main target. And so when I look at that and I hear people saying we anti-DEI, I already know that means you anti-me. And you make the important point, my son, to say that, yes, it is code language. It's code language for a lot of things. But the main thing is that the code language was to say, we don't want to help black women. Shout out to Congresswoman Summer Lee for continuing to press him on the point of, no. We're not talking about DEI. We're talking about black women are facing extreme levels of the black maternal crisis. Mm-hmm. That's what so what are you going to do about that? And he sat right there and called it DEI. Yeah. Which y'all said didn't have anything to do with us. He called it DEI. And you know what else he did? He dismissed it because you know why? It is your point, what you made. He don't want to do anything for black women.
Not at all.
And you know what really, really burns me? And it actually hurts me. It actually hurts me. Because it does not take rocket science to understand. Like, I don't have to be the greatest intellectual, the deepest, scholar that ever existed to know who Robert Kennedy was before he even ran for president. Before he made it into this national political landscape. I knew who he was, and I would never platform him because while he was running for president, his own family, when every single member of your family comes forward to say that you are a bad person and that you shouldn't be taken seriously for elected office, everybody, your brothers and your sisters, all of them, most times one of them gonna say, I ain't getting in that. I'm not getting in that. Even if I don't say anything on his behalf, I refuse. I refuse to stand against my brothers and sisters. Sometimes we might, I don't like this. Actually, we don't have those issues anymore. But at some point, a little debate here, a little fight here, people fall out. But for all of them to get together and say that you ain't shit, ain't no way that you can make me platform a man like that. And it's sad because in our community, for whatever reason, and especially when it comes to some of our brothers, we are either trying to be the smartest person in the room because we know more than everybody else. We don't listen to black women because we already know and we got our own path and we doing it our own way and the black woman can't tell me nothing because I know all of that, right? We would give that man platform in our community just because he was somebody out here saying, well, he doesn't agree with the vaccines. And yeah, sure, vaccines, all of that, it definitely needs to be examined because we know for sure that some of this stuff that they're giving our children in our community, something is wrong because autism is growing. Mental disabilities are growing. Lots of different issues are happening to us that did not happen in the same ways in the past. And sure, there needs to be research. There needs to be more done to address that. But what that man did sitting in that hearing was sit there and basically say, I'm just as racist as the rest of them and we don't fuck with black women. And that's the reason why we're never going to do anything to have a special focus on black maternal health. And what bothers me is that the same brothers, our brothers that put that man on their shows, that went and did work with him and walked around like he was somebody that was supposed to be good for our communities. And now one of them said, what you mean, Robert Kennedy, that you're not concerned with black maternal health? Where are the shows now? Where are all the people to sit around and give an assessment on how that racist ass man sat there and said, if black women die while they having your black man ass babies, it's okay. Ain't nobody said a thing. You know why? Because when it's for clicks, and when people are going to get attention as being the smartest, most intellectual person in our community, we will do anything. And it's not okay because he was a racist then and he's a racist now and he is with a racist administration that, guess what? You can say what you want. Kamala Harris wasn't shit, but guess who was focused on black maternal health? Guess who? Guess who was doing work on black maternal health? Kamala Harris. Guess that. And I'm not saying it was perfect, but at least there was an actual focus.
Yeah, and that's always been my point. You ain't said nothing wrong.
It's sad.
And you said it very passionately. Well, I listen to black women. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes, and we could do better. All of us could do better. I could do better. But I'm just saying, we always said that Robert F. Kennedy was dangerous.
Yeah.
We always said it. And now, and even with the vaccines, with the measles, look at what's happening. They ain't reporting it. Kids getting sick everywhere. Kids catching the measles. Something that was down to almost no incidents, it's rising.
Yep.
So we're playing around with our lives. And I'm not suggesting that our brothers don't love us. But I know one thing. when you sitting with the devil on and entertaining the devil.
Yeah, very strange. I say it all the time, man.
Because you know what? Because everybody wants that interview. Everybody wants the one. And I think in a lot of ways, perhaps that's why sometimes, I feel like, damn, I could be doing all this great shit. You think I could talk to anybody I want? You think Robert F. Kennedy would not have loved for me to ask him for an interview on our show, for us to have him up here, or for me to go stand next to, I could go to Trump right now if I wanted to and say, I thought about it and there's some shit you got that I'm actually interested in. The same way that Nicki Minaj has, the same way that Nelly is now. And guess what y'all do? Not you, but this is what people do that pisses me off. Sure, I don't like Chili, I'm done with Chili. Done. Completely done. That's where I'm at with it, right? You over there with them people. Now, if she come forward and say, because by the way, I don't believe nothing she said. But if she was to come forward and say, you know what? I was wrong. I made a mistake. Not I didn't read the fine print. Girl, please. Okay? Not that. But she came forward and said, you know what? I was wrong. I was on the wrong side. Then you know what? I'm willing to let anybody say, I apologize. And
I can't say anything.
Well, no, I mean, no. I didn't say they could hang out with me. Let me finish. I'm willing to accept anybody saying I was wrong and I'm making some different decisions. Now it's about what you do to show active work. Like, I made the wrong decision. The Tucker, we could talk about that next week. The Tucker Carlsons, the all these different people. It's what you do after that proves whether or not you are actually sincere. Yeah. But I'm never going to sit back and say that a person don't apologize. No. You should say, I was wrong. I was wrong. I thought wrong. I made the wrong decisions. Listen, I'm a person, somebody killed my son's father. Okay? And if they came and said, I was wrong, what I did was wrong, and now I'm going to go out into the world and I'm going to, go out and try to work with other young people to stop the violence in our community and to be a part of the solution. I might not hang out with them. I may never platform them. I may never even talk to them, but I still would acknowledge that they are going on to make something out of their lives and to turn things in the right direction. So that's not me. That's who I am, right? I'm not the person that's going to say ain't nothing you could do to ever apologize. You just might not be able to ever come around me. Okay? So if Chili said that, I had the wrong thinking, it would be good to hear her say that. And then I could say, well, you know what? I could still turn the song on and not think about how upset it made me. But what pisses me off and why I'm go to the concert with everybody else and just say to hell with it, is because Nelly is going back over there with Trump now. It was announced. And guess what? Ain't no 1,500 think pieces. I don't see people running it down. The whole social media blew up about Chili was over there donating to Trump and the liking Charlie Kirk stuff. I mean, she's doing some crazy stuff. Like, liking things about Charlie Kirk is far.
Yes, very far.
That was far. So that's where I was done. I wasn't done just because she gave Trump some donations. I wasn't even done then. I was like, to see this type of shit. But when I saw that Charlie Kirk shit, it shut my whole system down. So that to me says a lot about how deep she was in it, right? And anyway, let me move on from that. Getting to my point, Nelly, the reason why he now is going back over there to Trump is because he needed to see how bad was the backlash going to be. And then
what he's doing with Trump? I didn't see it.
Oh, he's speaking, he's performing at something they're doing.
Okay.
He's performing at something they're doing. And it was announced, but you know why you don't know, but I bet you ain't Miss Chili. You know why? Because again, the way in which black women are discarded, the way we're treated, the way that we become the brunt of everybody's evil blow. But I don't see anything anywhere about Nelly over there going back to Trump after we already done told him from the first time. I've seen it. But again, you got to ask yourself, why is it that it's not in your face the same way that Chili and what she did? Yeah. You know, so my opinion is, you know, sometimes I feel like we just sacrificing, not wearing certain clothes, not going to certain things, standing up for all of these different reasons, and people don't respect and love black women. So what the hell? Like, you go through all of this stuff, and then what is the return on your investment sometimes to society?
Well,
I just don't always know.
Black women, but I understand your frustration. It's merited. You know, we got to do better. I called on, you know, us as black men to step up and do better. You know, I want to do the Million Kings March, but I want to start with the 10,000 fearless first. You know, go city to city and just grab men who really want to stand up and really instill certain principles back into men, because women should not feel that way, especially black women. We shouldn't feel that way. So that's my process. All
right, well, we got a black woman coming up that we do support very much. And I'm excited to have her on. We're going to be hearing from a great guest, so stay locked in. All right, well, you know, the regular, a friend of the TMI show. We are back for season 6, and you know, today we absolutely have first of all, the last guest and now this guest, we really been doing good to start season 6 back, talking about people and their books. Okay, so today we have another friend joining us. I'm excited about this interview with our sister Jess Hilarious, who is a comedian and now a co-host on The Breakfast Club and an author, all types of things. Women are doing it all. You name it,
all the things.
Yes, we do it.
Yes,
You're a mother of 2 children. You got it going on, girl, and you look good.
Thank you so much, Tamika.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today.
My son.
You did just have a baby, huh?
Yes, I did. I started over. 13 years later.
Wow.
I had 5 more years until my son was out the house, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna let this black Mexican shoot this club up, you know, and I'm gonna give him this baby.
And you got a baby.
Yes.
Well, that's all right though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you needed a girl.
But you got a boy and a girl, so that's
that's
the thing.
And I plan on having 1 more, at least 2 more at most. So yes, that was always my big plan, to have at least 4 or 5 kids running around my house. But you know, the guys wasn't guying. First baby daddy wasn't baby daddying. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, that's why we got this book now, because I had to write about my journey of what it was like raising a kid with him. But yeah.
Well, before we get to the book, we want to talk. First of all, I want to talk about the schedule, because I think you got up at whatever time in the morning. You got to 3:30 to get into the city for a 6 a.m. show that you are on, called The Breakfast Club, that I and my son have had the pleasure of being on several times. What is that like, mothering, being on The Breakfast Club, and then also, you know, being an author and all the things that you have going on? And I think you're still, I know you are still doing shows.
Yes.
So you have a lot happening. Just talk about what's Jess Hilarious's world like right now.
It is very, I hate to say chaotic, because it's not. Well, it's good chaos, because this is what I pray for, you know, essentially, right? Just to have to have it all, you know. I wanted to be a wife, a mom, be the full-time businesswoman, and, you know, have the job of the Breakfast Club and things like that, and still just be blessed enough to, you know, be financially stable and then have the strength and do it, you know. But it is not easy. To me, I'm still trying to figure out my schedule, that work-life balance and all of that. Like, I'm still trying to, because getting up at 3:30, 3:45, Monday through Friday, every morning to do makeup and hair, because you know, radio ain't just radio no more. Now they can
TV.
So now you have to be,
and y'all on Netflix.
Yes, we on Netflix. You know, and that's another big thing. You know, so now the scope is much bigger. It's much broader, and I'm like, oh my God, it's people all over the country and outside the country and everywhere watching me now. So you got to come correct. And then not only do you have to get on the radio, just to be talking, you got to turn on your personality too. Like, you can't just show up and be like, hey, y'all, what's up? Like, if you're having a bad day, Charlamagne always say, nah, be real about it. But no, I don't want to I don't want to dim.
Women don't want to hear that. We don't feel that. We don't need that.
No,
we don't need that. We already have a bad day too.
Yeah,
everybody having a bad day.
We the first voices everybody hears. So why would I want to get on there? Hey, y'all, what's going? So you have to be turned on. Like, you know, personality got to be.
Do you feel like it was a process adjusting to doing the Breakfast Club as opposed to being just a stand up?
Well.
Yeah,
we
cuss.
Hell yeah, yes. It's still a process adjusting. I'm still trying to figure out that adjustment because you know what it was when I first got the job. I had co-hosted for like a whole year, right? And you know, revolving. Everybody was coming in, and they were alternating people, and I was like, this seems very, very easy. But then when you get the job, you're like, oh, this is every day. Oh, this is research. Oh, you got to read people's books when they come up here so you can know what to ask them. Oh, you got to really know. You got to do research on, education, politics, pop culture, hip hop culture, whatever. All things that you need to know. People look to us for that. People listen to us every day for that. And I'm like, whoo, because all people kept asking me was like, do you think that you will be able to fill Angela Yee's shoes? And I'm like, yeah, I think I got it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is cool. It should be easy. I'm going up there talking to my two bald-head brothers all day. This is nice. But it's so much more that comes with just chemistry in the room.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Right. And so it's still adjustment. I'm still adjusting. Thank God I got my girl Lauren now because now, it's like 2 on 2.
Yeah, do you feel the table is competitive?
Yeah, and depending on what we're talking about, yes, I really do. I feel like that. But what I am most happy about is it's more than one female energy.
Right.
And that we all have something different to offer. Like, I'm married, newly married. I got kids. Lauren doesn't have kids. So she still gives perspectives of like single woman and, she's independent and she's on her own. She's not single anymore, but she's not married. She doesn't have any kids.
You telling her business.
Right.
Did she tell it?
She did.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
she did.
In
fact, I was the first one to put her boyfriend out on social media, and that was crazy.
Why did you do that?
I don't even know. I think it was me getting even with her because she stole my job.
Oh,
but it's
right.
Good,
okay.
But thank God she's still with the brother because I would be upset if she wasn't, and I don't put him out there or whatever. But yeah, I feel like we all got 4 different personalities. We all bring something different to the show.
I'm just because I've watched, right? Because I'm a fan of yours, like from Instagram. So I always been following. So when you came, I seen that you was just trying to find your way, and I'm watching you find it now
in real time.
Like I'm watching you just get way more comfortable. You've been around. These people been doing this for like 20 years.
Yes.
So you in with seasoned vets, and they know how to get in and out and this and that. And I'm watching you just find your spaces now. So I just want to congratulate you because we see you doing your thing.
Thank
and
you so much.
This hat is amazing.
I'm feeling very revolutionary.
I don't know. It's just something about
something
this
about
hat. It's like an old hat, but you got a young face. So you give it something new. Like this might be a new trend.
You know what?
For real.
Hopefully I can get casted in like a timepiece. You know what I'm saying?
It's like
a church.
It's church, but it's not giving church with you.
And custard revolutionary.
Yeah, it's beautiful though.
I
love the color.
I love it.
Thank you.
So you wore that today on the radio?
I did, but I ain't wear the hat. I told you my leave out wasn't really leave out.
You're hilarious.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so I was like,
what you
let
are.
me go get a hat. This was the only hat that was in the back of my car. So I was like, all right, you know what? Let me put this on.
Wow.
And I got the shades. All right.
So, okay. So the Breakfast Club, you're getting it. You're feeling it.
Yes.
You're like, okay, you've been through having to call out the whole thing because you was like, this ain't working. This is not what we said it was going to be. I'm not mad if we bring other people on, but people need to have roles and everybody needs to be clear.
Communicate.
What was the energy like after that conversation? Like once you said it, and I know how Charlamagne is. He moves on from things
so quick.
Like you say it today and then he's like on to the next thing. But what was the energy like going back? Now, Envy doesn't, and I love my brother, but he don't give the energy of moving on like nothing happened.
No. He does not. I love that Envy is like that, though, to be honest with you, because sometimes I feel like Char moves on too quick from things, and he doesn't allow himself to feel anything. And, that could be from whatever, him years and years
it's too
doing
many years.
This. And
you can't take everything
like
personal.
He is like numb to certain things, but he has a big heart still.
Yeah.
But Envy is more of the the big brother teddy bear type. Like he feels what you feel. Like I can come in and not say anything. I could be looking a certain way, and he'd be like, he'd pull me off to the side, like, yo, you good? You all right? What's going on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where Shaw, like, don't come around me sighing, because I'm not going to ask you what's wrong. Like, ain't nobody going to come around your boy ass anyway and sigh. But, yeah, so you got one tough love brother, and then you got, like, the empathetic brother. You know what I mean? And after all of that had went, well, before it had went down, Envy was always noticing something was wrong. Like, I was uncomfortable with it, you know. I just felt like it was just no communication with that whole ordeal. Like, it was just like how it went down, and then I was made to look like the villain. Like, I couldn't share a space with another black woman, you know, but it just wasn't communicated.
Did you try to talk about it before you went public?
Yes.
Or did you regret that you went public?
No, I don't regret that I went public.
Me neither. It was perfect. It actually was perfect.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in real life, what you feel, people need to feel it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I always love about you is what you think you say.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's who you are. So you to do it any other way wouldn't have probably never worked for you anyway.
Yeah, you know, and I don't regret, while I don't regret going live with it, you know, I do regret being upset at Lauren. Like, I felt like my anger was misplaced. You know,
I didn't take from it that you was upset at Lauren.
okay, because
That's not what I took from it. I could see how Lauren felt offended
Yes.
and hurt,
That's
like
what
attacked by it, because
Yeah.
we all gonna experience things our own way. But I thought what you was saying was bigger than Lauren.
Yes.
It was more so executives, and also to Leonard and Charlemagne and Envy. Like, we came together to do a thing.
Yeah.
And then y'all introduced another person, man, woman, child. It doesn't matter. It's that I don't feel comfortable now in the space. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I didn't take it as an attack against her, but I can understand how she experienced it, being there like, well, damn, I'm just here trying to do my job.
I'm doing
you know.
what they asked me to do.
Right,
Like, I didn't
right.
come here just because I want to be here. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to be here, but they put me in place to do this. And that's all I wish was communicated to me.
Yeah.
Like, all right, listen, we're going to bring her in, and she's going to also have a segment, or we're thinking about having a fourth host, or we're
Right.
thinking about her jumping in on conversations or anything like that. Like, how do you feel? I mean, I'm fine.
It looks
It
good.
actually
I
is better
love
because
the
you said-
chemistry.
because when you think about, like you just said, you like there's another woman who has more female energy, so I'm not competing with two men.
Yes.
So it's it's even. So
Yeah, and she has a particular thing that she likes to do, and I felt like you were kind of forcing yourself to do things that is not really
That's
your
not me.
lane.
Yeah.
It's not really your lane. Like, I could
Absolutely.
tell you always, no matter what, I call you, oh, Jess, I think this or whatever. You like to learn certain things, and you have an opinion, but it wasn't your thing, you
Right.
know. And that's what she does: chase the story
Oh
and
my
go
God.
out in the world,
Yes,
and
being
this.
caught
She don't
with
have
Diddy
kids.
for
She
45
could do-
days,
exactly.
and I'm like, ain't
That's
no
not gonna.
way.
You're not gonna do that.
No.
That's just not your thing. And so now you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
We love that, and I'm happy
Thank
for you.
you.
Well, speaking of doing what you're supposed to be doing, let's talk about. Oh, before we go to that,
Yeah.
So Angie Martinez calls y'all together,
Yes.
and that is for us. I mean, to me, I had tears in my eyes because I know she's a big sister. She's my big sister. We love her. That seemed to be a historic moment. Talk about what that was, and like, how did you get the call, and what
Yeah.
was it, and were you like, damn, yeah, I need this?
Yeah. So it was like a week after that happened, it was like a woman's day that they were doing, and our boss Thea had wanted all the women of iHeart in the building to come and, fellowship and be around each other and everything like that. And we had these exercises where we were put in groups, and you had to go around and share something, about your working experience and all types of things. It was a whole event. And Angie was like, I want you to sit here, and I want Lauren to sit here.
Wow.
And she said some real stuff to us, you know what I mean? And she poured into both of us. Like, she
Yeah.
didn't put one of us down to make the other feel good. And, she was just more so like, yo, this is bigger than y'all. Y'all don't do the same thing.
Right.
You're a journalist, you're a comedian. Like, what is the friction for? She validated, she let me know that my feelings were valid.
Yeah.
I wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is not something that you can just totally blame on postpartum depression. Like, I felt like I was played with.
Yeah.
And so she had explained, why I was right and other ways that it could have been done and things like that. And she explained.
She's not about to go in public with the shit. She's not about that.
Hell no. She like, nah, you could have did it another way. You know what I'm saying? But you're not crazy, and I see you, and I understand. And she made me feel seen, and she made Lauren feel seen as well, because I felt really bad for Lauren that she was caught in the crossfire. Yeah. By my words on a live. And so she was like, look, this is what y'all need to do. She gave us the idea to do The Job Is Mine when we did the cover.
That was
the Monica and Brandy, The Boy Is Mine, you know. And we had fun shooting it. It was amazing. We also, Angela, he also poured into us. Just the ladies of iHeart. But Angie invited me to dinner after that. And her and I talked a lot. And shout out to Ivy as well. That's her girl who does the show with her. Ivy. And it was just amazing, like, just to know, like, because I was afraid to lean in after that. I was like, they all looking at me like, oh, this troublemaker, is she gonna go live again if she don't like something? And so I was just afraid, you know, to lean in, but they made me feel good about leaning in and trusting them. Like, whatever you need, I got you, you know. So that made me feel good.
I love that for you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it for you as well. So now,
period.
Yes,
I'm an author now.
This is a book that's needed. Like,
yes.
There's so many people who want to understand. Mm-hmm. Like, because I listen to you all the time. Like, I'm a fan, so
thank you.
I listen to the relationship that you have with your son's father. Yeah. Right? And it's very rare. Yeah. So the book, Till Death Do We Parent, by Jess Hilarious. Yes. This is a beautiful, the cover is dope.
Thank you.
Is this your real hand? Right
that's my real ashy ass hand, Miss on it. Don't say nothing about it. You already on my hand.
It's a lefty. Okay, that's
all right,
good.
yes,
like
I'm a lefty.
I love that.
Yes.
So this book is so needed.
Yeah.
So I want to know, because like I said, I'm a fan of yours, so I pay attention, and I know about how you and Rome are like besties. Mm-hmm. But what was the process to get there?
Man, it wasn't easy.
You was 19 years old.
19 when I got pregnant. I was like 18 when I met him, going on 18 or something like that. I got pregnant, and my parents didn't even know I was dating. So it was hard having to tell them, oh, this is my boyfriend, and by the way, I'm pregnant by him. You know, I was sneaking across Baltimore City to see him, all of that, right? And then I got pregnant. And my mindset when I was young, oh my gosh, people say, oh, you so young and dumb and full of, you know. But I really had thought that I was going to marry him and have a big, big family with him. At 19, look at me trying to write my life. Like, I don't got so much more life to live. And, you know, like, this is going to be my first and last boyfriend. And it didn't go that way. Like, Rome was lying, cheating, just manipulative, all the things, right? And I stayed because I was like, you know what? No, we the same damn age.
Okay.
Same 19. Age. He wasn't lying, cheating, and manipulating.
He was just growing 19. Up, like literally, exactly, right? But I was so much more mature than him. So I knew I thought I knew what I wanted. I was like, nah, this is my only guy, you know. And I found myself trying to understand why he was like that, you know, and thinking that, you know, if I do this the right way, or if I do this, or if I do that, you know, cater to him in this way, he's going to wake up and smell the coffee. Like, no, you know what? You're the only girl I want. I want to be with my family. You know, I thought that was going to be what it was, but I had to change my mindset when I realized this is not going to be my life. We're not going to have this, you know, fairy tale of a relationship, you know, and I had to change my mindset. And doing that, I had to also give Rome grace because he went through something so very traumatic. When he was 10 years old, he found his mother dead. Like, he was the one to find her. And so his childhood was just uprooted in a way where it was like, damn. I mean, his childhood was disrupted in a way where he went from a affectionate, loving household where he was his mom's only child to now living with his father and his stepmom, where his stepmom wasn't affectionate. She wasn't much of a nurturer, but she was a provider. And she was always there. His father was not. And so he really had no real guidance on how to treat women and how to raise children and how, you know, because he wasn't even finished being raised when his mom passed away, you know, and then his father stepped in when he wanted to, you know what I mean? And so that's where me and Rome had kind of bonded at, because he would open up to me about these things. And I realized, like, oh no, this kid need therapy.
Trauma
But
bonding. Trauma bonding,
but I had never went through anything like that in my life, but all I could do was be there for him. So a lot of times, like, I ignored, like, how I felt and was like, dang, like, he really needs help. That's how we really became friends. After I broke up with his ass, after him keeping on, he had a baby on me and all of that.
He had a baby on you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, he had a baby right after I took him back from cheating.
How old was that? How old were you then?
I was 22. Ashton was 2 years old. Yep, I was 22 and Ashton was 2. Yes, and I'm like, damn, yo, here we got this beautiful bond already because you're being vulnerable with me. I'm providing the safe space for you to open up about any and everything that you can't even talk to anybody else about, not your best friend. You don't have a family member that tried to help you with your mom's death or anything, and you're treating me like this. But it was just something about what he had gone through and how he was looking at life like he was lost that made me say, nah, I don't want to hate you. Like, I don't want to hate you. If anything, I want to help you. I want to be there for you because it seems like nobody is there for you. Like, nobody, So that, but I had to give him a lot of grace, and I did, and I was able to do that because I was raised two-parent household, a lot of structure in my household. My mom taught me and my brother what grace was, what, mercy was, and what, people come from all different walks of life. And just because you don't make it in a relationship when you have a kid, that doesn't mean that y'all can't raise a child effectively and be a team, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So y'all was together for how many years before y'all broke up?
2.
Just the
2
two.
years.
So after that was it.
That was it. I could not go back, girl. Once I found out that once the girl left, somebody left a comment under my Facebook post like, I don't know why he over here playing house with you and he got my cousin pregnant. I was like, okay.
That's enough.
Yeah, I'm
it's
done.
funny. Like, my son was born when I was 18. His father was deceased by the time I was 20.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, and we weren't even together.
Okay.
Similar things,
Yeah.
but we had domestic violence issues too. And it was both ways. So because one time I said we had domestic violence issues and started getting phone calls from people like, you remember when y'all was on set, you knocked him upside his head. So
it was beating him up too.
Yeah, but oftentimes it was because I knew what was going to happen. So I was like preemptive, like, let me just start this fight,
Gotcha.
let him know I'm crazy today, and it worked sometimes because he would be like, let me leave this crazy ass girl alone.
That's so
I have to
toxic.
kill this girl.
Oh my
It was
God.
very toxic.
Yeah.
But I realized that his parents, they both struggle with addiction and in and out of the system. They never got the support that, now everything is opioids and, it's a disease and we got to help people and put them in programs and all that because white kids started really, not to say white kids weren't already having addiction issues, but the opioid crisis made it worse. And so now there's a whole new way that they focus on drug treatment. But back when his parents were young, it was go to jail. And that was it.
Yeah.
And he basically struggled with not having his mom and just all the things. And I took on all of that, listening to his stories and the pain and the violence and the anger, just everything he experienced, and he never got help because at that time, therapy. My son is 26 or 7, child.
Okay.
I don't know. Well, how old is your son? 28.
Good.
Okay, so Tariq just turned 27. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that was 25 years ago. Well, even before that, but let's say 25 years ago, there was this conversation around mental health was
Didn't
not
exist.
a thing.
Yep.
It was not a thing. So for him to go to a doctor, he would have thought like, oh, I'm crazy. And people would have laughed at him. Maybe
Made
even
fun
people
of
in his
him.
family, right? Like would have been like, oh, ha, ha, ha. So that wasn't a thing. Go get therapy. And for us at such a young age as women to be taking on that type of stress and pressure without the tools that we need, it's just unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's unhealthy.
And that's what it was for me. Like I'm still not, but I wasn't a professional. I'm his age trying to figure out my life, but I'm still trying to have a big enough heart or having a big enough heart for him to help him through all of his mood swings. And one day he'd wake up, he'd be happy. And then one day he just wake up and he not, and he miss his mom. And then one day he wake up, he miss her, but then he mad at her because like, why did you leave? He's blaming her, but that's because his family didn't do the due diligence of getting him a counselor or a therapist. You know what I mean? So my family even took him in. My mother, now, my father didn't really like him too much for a while, you know, but my mother, she also saw real quick, like, oh yeah, this kid needs help. He's misguided.
Yeah, I know how you feel. I lost my father at 11. I actually seen him overdosed on my couch.
Jesus.
You know, walked into my house and he was overdosed on my couch. So that's a trauma that you don't forget. You know, I think.
How old were you?
I was 11.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was 11 years old. So I definitely understand that. What I'm trying to get from you is, how long did it take after y'all broke up for y'all to really build a bond? Was it immediately after y'all said, all right, we're not going to be together, but we just cool? Like, what was the process?
Yo, to be honest, I was already checked out mentally, so I already knew. Look, when that girl left a comment, right, and was like, yeah, he got my cousin pregnant, I wasn't even upset. I wasn't upset. I was upset with myself for something totally different. I had met somebody. I had moved on from Rome, or I thought I had moved on from Rome, because he was out of sight, out of mind for a while. We were already broken up, and then I met this gentleman that was not only good for me, he was good for my son. And that's what you got to consider when you're dating, when you have kids. Don't date selfishly only for yourself. You got to date for you and your child. And this guy's name is Emmanuel. I talk about him in the book. He was helping me. He implemented structure in my household. You know, he and Ashton had grew a bond, my son. And I went to go talk to Rome, and Rome fed me sweet nothings and tangled me up in that web where he got me back into, you know, just telling me what I want to hear. I want my family. I love you. I'm sorry. I can change. I'm going to change. It's been crazy over here since you left. Da-da-da-da-da. And so I'm thinking I'm doing a good thing by going and breaking up with the guy. Like, look, I'm going to break up with you. I'm going to give my son's father a second chance, you know, although it was the 100th chance by then, because I want to give my son a shot at seeing a two-parent household, like, together. And that guy, oh my God, I will never forget how he was staring at me like he could have blew my head off. Like, are you serious?
Wow.
Like, the same dude that you complained to me about, the same dude that really ain't stepping up for your son and who didn't give a F about you when y'all were in a relationship, you know. And so I left him for Rome, and 24 hours later, Tamika and Mysonne, is when I saw that comment.
Wow.
24 hours later, I'm like, damn, you got a whole baby on the way. And then come to find out, this wasn't just a one-off. He was in a relationship with this girl. But I was more so upset that I fell for whatever Rome had dangled in front of my face. Like, what? Just another bullshit possibility of restoring the family dynamic. And I left something great behind to do that, to explore whatever that was. And I found out he had a baby on the way. I was already checked out, though. I don't even know why I went back. Like, I don't know why, I swear. And so,
but in hindsight, you weren't supposed to be with either one of them.
Yeah.
Because now here you are,
yes,
in a wonderful marriage. Yes. And so it's like, it's all part of the preparation of life.
Yeah.
And it takes a while before we get to see ourselves full circle.
Yes.
You know, it takes a while. Trust me, I know. Well, how old are you?
Girl, I'm 34.
Oh, so, okay. So I got you by 11, 12 years. Yeah. Lord, help us, Jesus.
But you don't
help
like
us, God.
Stop.
Help us, Father God. So now at 40, almost 46, in 6 weeks from now, I see my life from back here. And it's like, oh, that's what you were doing, God, or that's what that was about. And I wasn't supposed to be there. Maybe the whole point of not, you and this second guy not being together was because that might not have worked out either later on, and then that would have been yet another example of a thing. So it all kind of just comes together as it's supposed to. So when would you say, what was the thing that was the turning point for you in your relationship? Because I'm imagining that in the beginning it was difficult, which we know it was not easy. It was difficult to figure out the way you would be would co-parent healthily. Healthily.
Yep. Healthily.
Yep.
Co-parenting healthily.
Okay.
Yes, I get to help somebody with a word. Every time I'm on Breakfast Club, they be like, Jess, that's not the word.
I always need help with words.
Yes.
Healthily.
Yes.
When was the turning point?
For the turning point from
we ain't healthy to the
healthy. Yes.
From toxic to healthy. That could have been a subtitle of the book.
Yep. From toxic to healthy. All right, that's for the second book, because this is going to be a whole series.
Yes.
So it was just that uncomfortable conversation that we had. Me and Roman sat down and we gave like our vows. We said our vows to each other, and I said, "Yo, you gotta lay everything out on the table." And before I finished answering that question, I never really finished answering yours. So it was easy for me to just become his friend because I was already still in a spot feeling sorry for him, and then it's like, no, like this is still somebody that I love, right? And I once was in love with him, but and for Rome, it was kind of quick too because he needed the help and he had depended on me and that access to me too because I was his safe space. So the pivot from toxic to healthy was we had a conversation one day. We sat down. He already 2 kids in, and he had one. The third one is on the way. And I told him, come on, let's sit down, put everything out on the table. Because you and I never had a conversation of closure. Like, we never, officially concluded whatever we had going on. I don't want you anymore. I know, I really feel like you don't want me. At one point, you just didn't want me to be with nobody else. But let's end it and finish it in saying our vows, right? And that's how we came up with Till Death Do We Parent, because we actually said our vows. Like, do you, Jerome McIver James, take me to be, of course the language was very different, to be your ride or die baby mother to the end, back then, but the more
adult
that
language.
Right. But the more adult version, was like, he had told me about everything that happened. Like, all right, look, I met this girl while I was dealing with you. I was cheating on you. I liked her. She had, she was what I wanted. She had best suited what I was looking for in that time. I didn't use a condom. We got pregnant. She said she would get rid of it. She didn't. I really didn't want her to, you know what I mean? But I didn't care. It didn't matter to me. Like, if I'm going to have kids, I'm going to take care of it, but I really wasn't looking for me and her to be in a relationship. So I'm like, yo, why do you keep sowing your seeds like that? Like, why do you keep, why are you just, and it wasn't until that conversation that I got to understand how his mind worked a little bit better and to realize, I can't do this. I don't specialize, and I'm not a therapist. I don't specialize in mental health or any of this. You really need real help, So that's where it came, when he said yes to therapy, that he would get therapy.
Wow.
And he tried harder at showing up as the best parent and not being a bitter, just a bitter person all around.
Did you do parent therapy?
Together? No, never? We didn't.
Okay.
Nope. And back then I didn't even know what that looked like. I thought that was therapy. He always told me, this is my therapy. I don't need to go sit on nobody's couch and talk to them, especially if they can't relate to me, if they never been through the same things that I've been through. I can just talk to you. But I'm like, yeah, but you're not, I don't know what to say to help you.
Exactly. I can hear what you're saying.
I'm just listening to you.
But I can't give you the help.
Yeah. I'm here to console you. I'm here to, tell you what I think you should do. But I'm no expert either, Rome. We the same age, baby. I'm over here struggling with other things too, So, yeah. But that's where the pivot happened from toxic to healthy. We became
Therapy.
A healthy team. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So how did that work with relationships? Like, you meet a new boyfriend, or he got a new girlfriend, and you like, this is my guy. He gonna be here. He coming over, this and that. Like, how did that affect?
My son, that's when it got a little crazy for me dating. Now, for him dating, Rome never put his children in jeopardy. No matter who he was dealing with, he'd have a different girl Monday, then a different girl on Wednesday, then she'd stay till Sunday, then he'd have another girl come in. But all of them, as crazy as it sounds, and as crazy as it was, all of them had great relationships with my son and his other kids too. But when it was just my son, I didn't really trip because I knew Rome would never place his son in any danger, any harm, right? So he was always a great dad. Now with me, it was different. Rome wanted to make sure, before any of these niggas meet my son, I need to talk to them. I need to tell them how he operate. They need to call me. Don't nobody need to discipline him verbally, physically, nothing. Don't nobody need to be, but that was more so of the control. Mm-hmm. He just wanted to have some type of control because Rome, I never put my son around anybody that I thought would cause him harm or danger. But me being in a relationship with Rome and accepting so much, and I think me trying to help him and see where he was coming from, I didn't have a great choice of men. Like, I didn't have good judgment when it came to relationships until my husband, I will say, honestly. Like,
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm vulnerable enough to say that. I write about it in the book as well. Like, what I was just talking to you about, Tamika, I'm like, I was dating very selfishly. Like, I was dating not for my son. Like, I was dating like I wasn't a package. Yeah, I was like, if you made me feel good, cool. You don't even have to really be close to kids. You don't even got to know what it's like to be around kids to deal with me. And that is what I regret, to be honest. But yeah, and Rome used to always tell me, don't go get another future, yo. You gonna be just, look, that nigga just like me. I can see it ain't gonna work with him. He would say that for every single person. And he would be right. I would never admit that he was right. But when I break up with the person, he'd be like, yeah, I told you. I already know.
So what did he say about your husband?
He knew instantly that Chris was the one.
Wow, that's great.
He knew. That's so crazy.
That's great. That's great. So Rome is really your friend.
Yes.
He's really your
life.
friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's your friend, because your friend knows.
Yeah, and he was able to identify those qualities that he had never seen me encounter from a guy, out of a guy. You know what I mean? Even himself. He even put himself in it. He's like, yeah, I knew that he was going to be your heaven sent dude. I know what you're looking for. I know what you want. I couldn't get that to you. This guy couldn't get that to you. This guy couldn't get, but I knew that he was. He met Chris one time, and he instantly knew. Now, they didn't always get along. Well, it's not even that they didn't get along. There needed to be boundaries that I put in place between me and Rome to respect my relationship.
Because now that was your friend.
Yes.
So, and y'all had just been kiki and ha the whole way.
And everybody.
Like, okay.
Yep. And everybody who I dated before my husband, I told them, you know how you date somebody and you be like, yeah, I got a son, so I'm not by myself. I would be like, I got my son and I'm close with his baby. I'm close with my baby father. I'm close with his father. So he's going to be the one. He's going to be at the wedding. He's probably going to walk me down the aisle. Like, but imagine you dating a girl and Shorty is saying it. Like, your question would be like, so why you not with him then?
Right.
And so some guys were receptive for a little bit. Then some of them weren't at all from the jump. Like, oh no, you might as well be with him then, But my husband made me draw that line in the sand. Like, nah, look, we land in
this.
Yeah,
but we ain't gonna do this.
Yeah, because we land in the bed
late night call.
You know what I'm saying? And he call you and you answering. But it's like, your son
y'all
is in
ain't
the
got
other
nothing to
room.
talk about. And they can talk to each other.
Why is it right? But Rome would call me for advice. Yo, guess what just happened at the club, yo? I was in it with these two badass, and they started fighting. Things like that. And my husband was not cool with that. He's like, nah. I understand y'all ain't got nothing going on. And he always trusted that. He had never thought that me and Rome were creeping around. But he was like, yeah, nah. There are certain hours that he can talk to you. You can't answer the phone for him 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm going to need some respect. And I did not want to lose the good man.
that so God sent you.
Yes. So I put that
boundary in place.
Respect that. He did. And he was so happy to. He was eager to do it.
So,
he was like, I understand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So does he have a wife now?
Who?
Rome.
Girl, hell no. Far from it.
He's Roman.
Rome is Roman, baby.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's be very faithful to one beautiful woman right now.
One chocolate queen.
That's
and
right.
You know what's crazy about this? Girl, I ended up meeting her. She was my manager at a clothing store years ago when me and Rome were together when my son was like 1 year old. And I meet her. Baltimore is so small.
Yeah.
Almost everybody that Rome dated, I know. Or I was associated with in some way. I went to school with this girl. God damn, I beat her up in middle school. God damn, you know what I mean? But they've been going strong for maybe about, 2 years now?
That's good.
So
that's
no,
going to be
his
his wife.
That's
right. We're not going to make Rome look crazy up here on this show.
Yes.
Rome is doing
that's
right.
Listen,
no,
you said it first and I co-signed it too.
You said it. But he is not. He is very serious about this beautiful young lady that he is seeing today.
And she ain't no baby bomb. I said, this is
different. So see, you know now.
Yes.
That may be the one.
We got to get Rome on the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
I want
it's two sides to every story. Y'all got to go on tour together.
Yeah, she's doing some of the press stops with me.
So that's good.
Next
That
time,
is really good.
Me and you going to get up here and talk. I need to hear your side of the story.
Absolutely.
So how does your son feel in the midst of all of this? You got married. You know, obviously he knew you and your dad. His dad. That wasn't a thing.
He didn't even want that to be a thing.
Okay, cool. So he's
that
happy.
was the conversation. Yeah,
and he goes back and forth still, but he's 15.
Yep.
15.
Yep. He's 14.
14.
Yep.
So now it's like he's older. So they don't. When they get older, they don't want to go back and forth and all that. They go when they feel like it at that age.
Yep. And he's happy. He has a solidified bond like with my husband, and Rome and Chris tag team on raising him together.
That's
like
good.
They talk outside of me. They both take turns, you know, because Ash is football. He plays football, and he's at the number 2 school in the country for football. You know, shout out to St. Francis Academy, and they both help with that. They organize practices, and the transport. You take them, I'm gonna pick them up, you know. And now my son got a girlfriend, so he was excited to tell Chris and his father, but wasn't excited to tell me.
Of course not.
And I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? But I love that though.
Yeah, because you're also a Renaissance woman. So you working, you writing, you doing, you got a lot going on. And there comes a point, the hardest part, well, there's a lot of things about my son's father being deceased that hurts. And when you said that Rome was angry at his mother at times, I went through that. There was like a year or so where I was so mad at Jason for passing away. Like, how dare you die on me? And I'm here in this situation stuck. So I know what that.
You keep saying passed away. The man was.
He was fumed. But I just, the point is that you ain't here. Yeah. And by the way, the people that you got involved with that took your life, we done told you about them kind of people. Your family did. I told you. You were so much more concerned with whatever else was going on than with us. That this is the spiral that got out of control, and so it makes you angry. You go through grief. Is very interesting how you go through so many different things. You start thinking you shouldn't have been there. Why did you go? How did you let yourself get killed? You go through so many things, and you cannot control what grief will do to you, but you do need somebody to help you manage it properly. For sure. And that's the thing that he was lacking, and so was I, which is how later on in life, I end up taking the prescription pills and all the things because you think it's the thing that's happening to you at the moment, but when you finally get therapy, you begin to learn that there's layers of stuff that started so long ago in your life that you didn't even acknowledge it or pinpoint it as a problem. It just is socialized. We live in an environment of toxicity all the time. So we pick up things that makes our relationships hard, that makes, how we communicate with other women, men, this, that, our children, everything. It's a lot. And so I know all about that feeling that Rome had of being angry. And I used to be so damn pissed with my son's father because I was alone and trying to the point I'm making here is that there came a point when I realized I couldn't do anything else for my son. Yeah. And 14 is that age when it shifts to being more of the father's responsibility. Yeah. And then you as a mother, there's not much you can do. You can still love on them and kiss them and certain things, and give them hard, learn examples of things in life, and coach them and mentor them and do all of that. It's not the same. You cannot be a father once they get to that funky age. At 14 is funky.
Yes. And that's why I'm so damn blessed, because not only do I have my son's father and my husband, I have my father. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and
me too.
It's a village, you know what I'm saying?
Same.
And Rome's father, he didn't really show up for Rome. I think that's why he tries to show up for his grandkids in ways, you know what I mean? But what bothers me about my son at 14, not being able to communicate with me. It's not even that he's not able to communicate. They go through this phase, these teenage boys, where it's 14, one word. It's 14. Yeah, it's one word answers. Yeah. It's like, damn, did I do something to you today? Like, nah.
Just so you know, that doesn't
they're dealing
change.
with hormones.
27. My son mumbles.
They're dealing with hormones. They're dealing with thoughts. They're trying to figure things out. It's a girl at school. It's a guy, some kid at school. They don't like. It's sports. They thinking of all these things, and they don't think you really understand. But they just really don't think you. And they like, Ma, you like my mother loves me, but she can't really relate to this right now.
But and all I'm saying to that is like, no, try me,
try
me, like just talk to me. Like I don't know, as like, and I'm blaming myself. Like, did I do something? Nah. Is it because I'm married? Is it because I had a new baby? Like, to me, I be going through emotions.
I understand.
Like my son is 14 right now, and it's this phase that he's going through that his mother doesn't really understand. She's like, "Wow, I've done all I can. You got to do it now." Yeah. He's 14, and it's like, and I realize it because when I'm having a conversation, when I'm looking at him, I'm realizing, okay, this is a step towards manhood. He wants to be his own individual, right? So he's trying to find his space. And you have, and us men have to guide you in that space, because if you get the wrong influence at that time, you can go all the way. So you got to really bring them in and structure them. Like, okay, you got to see little things and stop them immediately. Like, you're not doing that, or this is how you got to do things. So it's a lot. So don't put it on yourself.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I started. I think I was having like parental guilt, right? Because I started over. I had a baby, and the way that Marley gets to see me, Ash didn't get to see me when he was younger, because I was, wilding out, then Fox, then, like on the rise
and
of
outside,
my career.
And trying to find a man and just, doing everything.
And that's what I'm so damn like guilty about. I still have that, and I even asked him, and he's like, no, none of that is the problem. But he won't
doesn't know
nothing past that.
He just say, no,
but he doesn't even know, because like I said, later in life, the layers come back and you like, oh wow, I didn't realize that it did bother me when the new baby came into the household, and then the new man, and then I started feeling he won't understand that until he's sitting back looking at his life and all the things that pulled at his heartstrings. All of us create situations for our children that we have to, there's residuals of it. All of us do it. My son, he had to deal with me being, in many ways, a missing parent, but not because I was in the street or at the club. I was out here fighting for people's children in the middle of everything from Sean Bell to Amadou Diallo to, to every all the cases that we fought. I could go on with names. I think about, when Ramarley Graham was killed in the Bronx. And he was shot in his house. The police went into his house and shot him in the bathroom where his grandmother was in the house. And he was, I don't know, I think Ramarley might have been 18 or 19 years old. So many stories that sometimes I can't remember. But I know my son was a teenager and he had basketball, but that case was big. I mean, I was in the middle of like a war in New York, and I missed 3 or 4 games. And it was like after that, I felt a shift in his not even really wanting to be bothered with me, because he couldn't understand what I was dealing with. But when you're in those types of fights, there is no day off. Your children and your family often take a back seat, unfortunately, to that work. Now, people will say, would you do it differently? Saying that I would do it differently would mean that white supremacy and police abuse and all of that wouldn't exist, because I can't say that if I was still in the work, I would have done it differently. I can't say that, because the where I'm at, the position I sit in, being a leader, and I was an emerging leader at that time, it is because of the work. So it's a challenging thing, but I do know that the decisions I made had a negative impact on my son as he grew up. And we just do I feel guilty about it? I used to, but I've come to a place of like, okay, I did all of that. I apologize. Now it is your time, though, to course correct and figure out how with your kid you don't have to do it the same way that I did. And I recognize that he sees me different now that he's a mature person who has a 3-year-old. He understands my life a lot different than he did when he was a teenager and I was not present, and different things went on. So it's a challenge. And when you get older, you begin to realize these are the things that impacted me and shifted, how I grew and what I was experiencing.
Yeah, but no, I appreciate that insight because, girl, that is something that I think about every day.
Yeah. You'll be all right.
Yeah, thank you.
You'll
be all right.
So what do you want people to get from this book? Like when you overall think of like, what do you want them to get?
Well, listen, it's certainly not a how-to do parenting. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want anybody to think that this is a tutorial on how you're supposed to parent. But it's my journey, it's my experiences, right? And what any woman can take away from it, even if you don't have kids. You were once a kid and you saw your mom and your dad co-parent, or maybe you didn't, and maybe the answers to why you are the way you are in this book. You know what I'm saying? But it's literally a stigma like that I want to take the right step toward killing, because there's been a bad stigma put on parenting, and especially the Black families, that when we don't make it as lovers, for whatever reason, we still can't come together and effectively raise our kids. It has to be dysfunction. It gotta be negative. It gotta be toxic. It gotta be static. And it does not have to be that way. And then another thing I want women to take and men to take away is accepting and letting go. Like, because I had a hard time in the beginning accepting that me and Rome were not going to be together. And this was not going to be my husband that I'm going to have a trillion kids with. Like, I had to change my mindset, like, and accept it and then let it go to make room for us to be friends, to be family on a different level, to construct a beautiful bond, to raise our kid who was still looking at both of us. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to be a bitter parent and show up as that bitter parent and being the best mom ever. That don't work. That does not work. And I was bleeding that into my son. He was constantly absorbing that energy. He was acting out, going to school, just fighting and just talking back and being disrespectful. And I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from, but I'm always mad at his father. You know what I mean? Being around him, not talking ish about his father to him, but just my mood.
The energy.
Yeah, and he was absorbing that and then regurgitating it. So it was just like, damn. But that's what you got to do. You got to accept it for what it is. Let it go. You know what I mean? And then I don't like the stigma of, until he 18 or until she 18. Nah, till death do we parent. This is a real life sentence. Like, I'm 34 years old. I'm married, independent. I got my kids, businesses that I'm running, and I still will pick up that phone and call my mother. I need my father for things. You know what I mean? So this is absolutely a life sentence. So, and I know it can help you. It can help you even if you don't have kids. Just reading from my experience.
I can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
Tell me the last thing. What's next for you? This book is, and by the way, we are publishing siblings because we both have books on Black public. We both have books on Black privilege publishing. Yes. Shout out to Charlamagne, as you said, he has the biggest heart.
Yeah,
he is gonna always try to find a way to put somebody in position.
Absolutely,
he never closes the door behind him. And I appreciate him so much for the investment that he's made in me. He allows me to have a book, 2 books. That tell stories that I don't even have to speak. My work is already in the room. When I get there, people are already like, oh my God, I read your book. I see your story. I see you. Let's fight or let's love. Or, and it's a beautiful thing. And glad to know that, he helped you to put this book out as well. What do you want to do ultimately? Beyond being all this mom, radio personality, comedian, author, what's Jess Hilarious, like your big moment in life?
Yo, at first I used to say like, I want to network, right? I want to network with him, but no, I really want, I don't know whether it's going to be daytime, because we know daytime TV talk is going down the drain as we see it, but it's always possible for something to return. You know what I mean? Things go out.
You might be the thing that kick it off.
You know what I mean? So that's what I want to do. I want to have like daytime TV talk where I am helping people. I do want to turn this into a show.
Wow.
Yes, where, Jess Fix My Mess, where, it's co-parenting and helping couples, mend their relationships, whether they're going to be together or not. Like, because whether we realize it or not, we create like bad seeds, yo. Like we really do. Like, not only are they born in sin, yeah, I understand that, but like our children go off of like how they see us. Now, that's not always the case. It doesn't always.
Nothing is absolute.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. But it's like we can help our children if we pay more attention to them. Like, you got to get to know your kids. Listen, something crazy that I didn't realize was in the pandemic. I had to get to know my son. I realized that, damn, I've been traveling and doing all this, and he's always in school and doing this, that I haven't really had sat down and find out like what his needs are, what his wants are, what he likes, what he doesn't like, what he finds inappropriate. You know what I mean? So I actually always proudly say I got to know my son through the pandemic because it was just us in the house. Things were shut down. You will find out so much if you just sit and talk to your children. So that's what I want to do. I want to mend relationships. I want to help blended families. I want to help, like integrate families, and I want to be able to help people fill in the gaps of what they feel like is missing. Also, outside of co-parenting, just helping people. That's what I want to do. I want like a 30 minutes or hour show doing that. That's exactly what I want to do. And I want to write more books, girl.
Manifest.
Because co-parenting can't just be summed up in all, in one book. It has to be
you say on Tuesday the 1st, you have to remind him to keep the kids' coats on in the winter.
Yes.
I have to tell my son that all the time. Jess was arguing about it the other day.
Explain it slow for Rome, because Rome don't understand.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I gotta put Rome.
If the coat ugly, he not going to put it on my son.
The 7th day of the month, you have to deprogram and reprogram Ashton after weekends at his dad's house.
Because when they get back from the other parent house, they a whole different little kid.
On Wednesday the 9th, you have to send screenshots for proof that you already sent this. I already told you.
Already told you. The back is the soundtrack to my life. Like the back is literally the soundtrack.
Okay, we explained it slow for Rome. On the 16th, you translate it by saying I'm 5 minutes away. Wait a minute. Translate I'm 5 minutes away into real time.
25 minutes for Rome.
25 minutes.
I'm getting off the exit.
No, you're not. You 25 minutes.
You still in the house.
Now the 21st day of the month is important. Swallow pride and ask for help. We are a team.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
You got other stuff on here, but I think we can end there. Thank you, Jess Hilarious.
Thank you, Tamika. Thank you, my son.
Amazing.
So happy for you.
Please.
Yo,
need to start
you know what?
now.
I'm never wearing this back up here. Because I'm
is
coming back.
fire.
I'm going to do an episode without the hat.
But I love the hat, though.
No.
You are welcome to come to the
welcome
TMI show
anytime.
anytime you want.
Thank you
anytime
so
you want.
much.
Thank you and congratulations.
You
This
got
is going to
this.
help save lives, save
Yes.
families, and save young people.
Till death do we parent.
Yes. Raising my kid with his dad. Appreciate you.
That's hilarious.
Thank you.
Jessica Moore.
Tolliver, because I'm married.
Jessica Moore Tolliver.
Thank you.
So obviously, Jess Hilarious is hugely successful. She is, much more successful than I was at 34. 12 years older. There does come a time in life when you start realizing that you're older than people, even people that you have watched grow and they're big successful people on TV and other places, and you're like, damn, I'm still older than you. You think, I don't know, when I was a kid, I thought everybody on TV was old. Everybody, no matter what they look like. They could be little kids, and I thought because they were working.
Yeah.
They had a job. So but anyway, she's hugely successful, but I see so much of my older self, or my younger self rather, in her. Just that now she probably is fine. And I remember that. Like by the time I got to 35, I started coming into a groove of self, like understanding more about who I am, more about womanhood, and family became obviously much more important to me. And so I see that in her. And it's just good to know that she has had the opportunity to put her dreams forward. And I think that it's also what makes me slightly emotional about it is that I know how influential Charlemagne is. Now, of course, there's a whole bunch of shit that me and him and you and Leonard, we go back and forth. We don't always agree on issues, but the core of who he is and what he does, especially for Black women, is really, really intentional and important. And I know it in so many different ways, from Teslin to Lauren. It made me a little emotional watching her today, because I can tell that he has looked at her and said, let's pivot. We're going to pivot this way. You're going to do radio. We're going to pivot this way. You're going to have your book, And that's just a beautiful thing. That's what we all supposed to be doing. And there's so many other people that do it all the time, but I just figure because, he is our publishing papa, that the siblings should give him some love.
Well, shout out to Charlemagne. He's always shown me love. He's always shown me respect, put me on platforms, always made sure that my voice was elevated, made sure that I had an opportunity to give my side of any story. Even if we disagreed on things, he always showed me nothing but love and respect, and we actually here on this podcast because of him. So,
well, we're not on the podcast because of him, because we was already doing the podcast
we on his
you.
network.
We are on the Black Effect Podcast Network because he, wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to push our message far and wide, and to, as you said, elevate our voices. And I can remember, he would say more people need to know about y'all's work, like what you're doing. Even when we first really started working with Charlemagne, remember, he gave or helped us raise a lot of money for the Justice League, so for the Gathering for Justice. And so it is not everybody uses their platform for good. Not even if you're using it for good, not everybody uses their platform for others. That's really what you should say. It's like, because using it for good is one thing, but using it for other people is a whole different thing. This wasn't to turn Jess Hilarious' interview into being all about him, but it's just that that's what came to me as I watched her talking, and I know that she's living out, other parts of her dream. I can see where the influence of having somebody that truly believes in you, even when you challenge them, because I challenge him all the time, and you challenge him, he challenges us, right? We're not the kind of friends where everything we say and do, we all agree with. It's not that kind of relationship. And so, when people be like, oh, what you think about what he said about so-and-so, I don't agree. And I will write it. I know you do. I write it in the comment section. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with this at all. But the down and dirty arguments, it goes down in the text messages. Me and him and Teslin, we get it in. They do worse than me. I can't hang with them, because Teslin, you cannot out argue Teslin.
Oh yeah, she's a professional arguer.
Teslin Figaro is a professional debater.
Yeah, that's her thing. Like, she'll tell me, brother.
It's on.
That's how she started off, brother. I seen that you said this, and I would say that I disagree. And I'm like, well, you have a right to disagree, Tesla, but this is that. And then she be like, well, brother, and she come right back because she ready.
She's saying research, articles.
Yeah.
He do the same thing,
but
though.
You gotta respect it, man, because they're passionate and they're genuine. So
and intelligent.
Yep. And
very intelligent individuals. They make me sharper.
Shout out to Charlemagne.
Shout out to Jess Hilarious.
Yes, shout out to Jess.
Till death do we parent.
Yes.
I love that.
I love it, and
Till
just
death do we parent.
The way she explained it, I'm just a fan of Jess. Just watching her
meant to ask
grow.
about the controversy of all the things that she's been through, but she's grown from it.
Yeah, that's part of life. I'm just watching her evolve from just somebody that I seen on Instagram making dope videos until she became, a comedian, and now she's on the Breakfast Club, and now she's an author. Just watching her journey. Just seeing her evolve is just something dope, knowing that she's somebody from just the hood in Baltimore.
Yeah, and she's learned by fire.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all do. She's learned by fire. So, I appreciate her coming up here to promote her book. And I hope y'all go out and support it. When people write books, it's hard work. And you should buy it, put it on the coffee table. And
definitely
you kind of, and sometimes you don't even agree. It could be certain things that she has said or I've said or you've said that you don't agree with. But to support Black people is to say, I'm going to purchase this book and I'm going to read it. And maybe there's more insight in how you came to these thoughts. And maybe I can continue to engage you on the way in which you see things, you know. So I think we should find ways to support one another. Because I'm going to tell you something. I know a lot. I've now been trying to learn the trends of various communities. And I see that their support does not end at who they like. They don't. Their support does not end at who they like. They make calculated decisions in other communities about what is important to sustain the community. And then they don't have to like Trump. They don't have to like him.
But they do.
No, not all of them.
They like him.
No, that's not true. There's a lot of people.
They love him.
A lot of people do not like Trump. And I'm talking about a lot of legislators, a lot of people in the Republican Party. They don't necessarily like him, but they also are trying to figure out how to ensure that they hold on to power. And when you're trying to figure out, when you're trying to sustain and or obtain power, sometimes you have to make decisions that go against some of the things that you believe in, and that's why we don't do that. But that's also a part of why, in a lot of ways, we don't always. Our power is not always as powerful as it could be because we don't make those decisions. And that's not to say, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying we don't make those decisions. But even in elections, right? We have to make, as these elections come up, the midterms and the presidential election, we have to make decisions sometimes that we don't necessarily like, but we're also trying to gain power. We're trying to take back our rights. And so we have to look at certain people and say, this presidential nominee or whoever it is that's going to be running, these 5 things I agree with, and these 2 I don't.
But let me give just a little pushback on that. I don't. If there was 2 candidates, right, and both of them were to the level of Trump, right? There's no power that I would want from either one.
It just depends on what kind of power, like you said, that you're looking for.
But my thing is,
we have different power dynamics.
It's not so much. It's that I would never empower a person with that type of mind state.
I get that.
See, it's not because I understand that. Even in the reality of that type of administration, that whatever power I think is fool's gold, because it's not really power.
But you're talking about the material difference.
What you mean?
And I'm talking about function and process.
I'm talking about function and process too.
No, we're not, because you're talking about the material difference. You're talking about the substance of each person. So I understand that. And I agree with you 1,000% that when you look at the individual of Trump and his policies and his personality and the damage that he has done to our nation and is continuing to do, and the damage that he's done even before that, just as a business person, you look at him and from a very specific, like a material understanding of like who this man is, it's nothing he has for you that you want. I agree with you about that. I'm saying that function, like process for people is that they might not like him, but if the power they want is something they think he can help them achieve, they're going to choose him every time.
But that's the thing about it. It's like this. If I got a man that I know probably will blow the world up, but probably like a year or 2 before the world explodes, I'll get $1 billion. Right? It's fool's gold.
Right. Well, that's a fact.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Is if you vote for somebody or you stand by somebody who ultimately is going to destroy the infrastructure of everything that we actually built in America, it's going to have us as the laughing stock. It's going to have our allies, everything put us so much in danger. But you focus on the fact that you can make a little bit more money and not look at the whole reality.
Yeah. Well, white people always do that.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. So that's all I'm trying to say. So it's not about if you can't see the forest from the trees, that's on you. Because that's the biggest trick of the devil, is making you think he don't exist. So yeah, we gonna give you all this shit. Yeah. If you look at every movie where they have the devil, he gives you all of the riches and everything, and ultimately he just destroys you and take everything from you. So that's the biggest trick of, what you want? You want this? You want money? You want this and that? And then ultimately they say, okay, now we come back, so we gotta take your family and we're gonna take all this shit and all of that. But you got the money though, and you be like, well, the money don't even matter no more, because you done took all the shit that I wanted to spend the money on. So that's what happens in this situation. When we looking at Trump and we look at this administration, when you get even America's money is fool's gold.
Yeah, I'm not saying the ends justify the means.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying there are various things we pick up from, good or bad, from other people that we can manipulate to use in our favor. In our situation in this nation, we've always had to choose, as people say, sometimes the lesser of two evils. Sometimes people say that we've had to hold our nose and vote. Like, we've always had to do that. And I'm saying other communities do it as well, but for different reasons. Some people look at Trump, they think we hear them, we see them. They talk about this man like he's a complete fool. He's a dummy. Like he's stupid. He's ignorant and all of that. But what they know is that he is crazy enough to just do the things that they've been trying to do quasi. They've been trying to do the same old shit. Steal, rob, and kill.
But that's all I'm trying to say.
And so I'm not, but I'm saying we're not saying two different things. I'm just saying that my point is that we will, in these two upcoming elections, there's going to be a lot of that. Making decisions about.
If you decide.
Because you can't stay home.
If you decide that you're going to vote for somebody.
My son, I'm telling you that that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the function of it. The fact that you will have to make decisions, that you will say, I don't like Hakeem Jeffries. I don't like his platform. I don't like the things that he stands for. But in order for us to regain and or restore some form of freaking sanity and maybe try to put black women back to work. I'm not saying that it's going to change the whole nation. It's going to be the best thing that ever happened and the world's going to be. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in the elections that are coming up, we're not necessarily going to have time to sit here and say, I hate John the so-and-so, whoever's running. We're not really going to have time to process that. We're going to have to say, I don't want you. And I know we have to build a world that is better than you. But in this particular moment, we cannot allow this country to keep going down the same path that it's going.
Okay.
So we have to stop the bleeding. Because the bleeding is severe. It's severe.
But all I'm trying to say is if it was two people that was going to make it bleed, then I wouldn't vote at all.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. You're saying what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, when you tell me that people voted for Trump, I'm trying to figure out, he the reason why it's bleeding. I'm trying to figure out, what did somebody see in the Trump that made him
they see racism. That is their.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the power. Tell you.
But we're still. Why are we going around in circles when I'm telling you that some people are doing it for power that is bad? Some people are doing it for power that is good. But we're all making a decision.
Tell me where the good.
No, I'm saying that we might be doing it for the good, and they might be doing it for the bad.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, they don't like him. All of them don't like him. They don't like him. They don't want him to be the guy. They think he's stupid. They know he's dangerous, but at the end of it, they know, okay, at least we are able to end DEI, put black women out of position. We know that we're able to invade nations.
Because we're about to go around in circles.
But I'm saying to you, my son, I don't understand why we're arguing about function. I'm saying that we have a different motive But I'm saying the process can be the same. That you might sit there and not like John Blow. You might not like him, but you can look at his platform and see that he has in it that he believes diversity, equity, and inclusion needs to be restored. And so you might choose him as a candidate that you don't love. You don't even like him. But in this moment, he can help you get closer to what you're trying to do. And I'm saying that
I just
similarly they do that on the other side.
I just don't think a racist don't like another racist. But
no, they don't like him. I think he doesn't even have respect.
I think all the racists like each other.
No,
but, hey.
That's not true because all the nothing likes nothing. Nobody, not everybody likes anything. We hear them talking about this man. They don't like him. I've heard Mitch McConnell say things like, I hear these people. They don't like him. We see it. It's in stories. I read these long form freaking stories where these little exposés.
Mitch McConnell is dead, man.
Okay, forget it.
The man is a vegetable.
He's not dead. He was not dead at the time that he was out there, or not out there, but in private conversation saying this man is like, he's too much. He's ridiculous. Like, they don't want a loud racist. They want a quiet racist.
They like the diet racism.
Yeah, they don't necessarily like him, but they got to do what they got to do because they want a certain level of power. And I'm saying that we have similar circumstances, although ultimately we need a changed world. But but right now, in order to get there is going to be another opportunity. And some people are saying burn it down. Some people saying they don't give a shit. Other people are saying, hold on, as we're burning it, let's see how we could try to like save our kids.
Okay.
Because guess what? The shootings and all the things that's happening, as you can see, the summer is coming. They shooting in April. Usually around May, the end of May, 1st of June, it started getting popping. It's lit. It's April. And a 7-month-old baby, 2 15-year-olds, and God knows what else is going on around the country. We about to have a hot-ass summer.
Makes sense.
And part of it has to do with people not having resources, people not getting mental health support the way that they had. Like, we have some bleeding that has to be stopped. So all I'm saying is that the same function of I might not like John, but I know that I'm going to have to do something because New York is a good example. Kathy Hochul is running for governor. There are people here who do not love Kathy Hochul at all. But there is a man who is running against her. And in fact, remember, there was a woman, I think, that was in the race too, and she was completely crazy. But there is a man who's running against her who has some of the same platform and ideas of the Republicans and some of the MAGA shit. You understand what I'm saying? So you might not like Kathy Hochul, but what do we want here?
Well, I understand exactly what you're saying, because if Kathy Hochul was equivalent to the MAGA person,
but she can't be in the scenario that we're discussing right now, she wouldn't be able to be that because then she wouldn't be an option.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm. But I'm saying that's not.
From the beginning.
But I don't understand why you keep saying that when I'm clearly telling you that we might not like the person. They would have to be in our ballpark of things that we want done. So they would never be all the way Trump.
That.
I know, but okay, forget it. Let's
I
go
don't
ahead.
think you even listened
no,
to what I'm saying.
I have heard you, but I'm saying something that response is making me think that you don't hear what I'm saying.
I heard
because
what you
they
said
would
50
never
times.
be. They would have to be somewhat like the people we like for the things we want and the things we want to get done. They could never be all the way over there, because if they were all the way over there, they wouldn't be over here, so they wouldn't be in the conversation.
So
they're only in the conversation.
Let me just,
they might be bad on.
Let me tell you what I think it is.
On abortion,
okay,
but they good on 7 other things. So they could never be a Trump.
So let me explain. To you what I think.
They would have to be kind of progressive.
Okay.
Just like he's racist.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
So what I think I was saying is this. I heard what you said, but I thought that we were making a comparison when you wasn't talking about the candidates. I thought we were talking about individuals, and I thought from my perspective, it was like you were trying to say that. Well, there's some good people that want Trump. They don't like him.
No, I didn't say they were good people.
So you're just saying they just...
I didn't say they were good people.
Okay.
I said that there are sometimes people, they don't like him.
Okay.
They don't like him. They don't like his... They don't like him. They don't
Okay.
like him. They don't... It's like, I know 6 different rappers, and they all have different good things, but some people, I just don't like them. I just don't like them,
No.
but I still love rap.
Okay, that's what
they
I'm trying to
still
say.
love racism.
Oh, that's what I'm
they
trying to
just
say.
don't like Trump.
I got it. So now that's what it was for me, because I was like, it don't matter whether you like him or not. For you to vote for somebody of that, you're just not a good person.
Okay.
That's what it is for me. Now we've clarified it. Like I said, me and Tamika don't always agree. Sometimes she's not going to always be right. I'm not going to always be right. We're going to debate. And that was one of the debates. So, we
Whatever.
got to,
I wasn't debating.
Okay, you was.
But okay.
But let's move on. I don't get it. I was thinking about Trump today, and then I decided not to do Trump. I think there has been a topic that, as a man, that I wanted to speak about. We didn't speak about it last week, and there have been a lot of black women who have been killed lately, and as a black man, and they've been killed by black men, by people they've been in relationships with, people they have kids with. And, and I've seen this online debate. I've been in chats where there's just discussions. And as a black man who deals with some of the most heinous things ever, like we deal with levels of trauma, stress, all types of things. Regardless of what I deal with as a black man, I don't see any level of justification for killing a woman. Right? Not justification. I don't see even an excuse. I don't see where black men should feel the need to come to the aid of someone who is so weak that they kill a woman.
Why black men should feel the need?
Yes.
I hope that men feel the need. If they see a person that could be spiraling in that direction, hopefully you feel the need to say, let me do something.
But I'm saying after this has happened, I see a lot of people come to their social media and want to, send their regards to the man when the woman was the one who lost their life, when kids had lost their life. And we start talking about the mental health of the man. And I think for me, when you make a conscious decision to take the life of a certain individual or your own kids, that's a conscious decision. Right? I think when you're dealing with mental health mainly, it might lash out on anybody. There was shout out RIP to Fox 5, who was from the Bronx, and he had a situation on the train who I heard that he probably was on some type of drugs or hallucinations or something, and he ended up cutting some women on the train. But these were random people that he didn't know. He walked up to the police with a machete. He said, quote unquote, that he was the devil. This is what they said allegedly, and they ended up shooting him. So those are things that I can kind of understand when you tell me mental health. But when you're in a situation, in a relationship with a woman, and the relationship is not going good, and she's kicking you out the house, she doesn't want to be with you, and in return, you decide to take her life and take the kid's life and take your own life, that's a weak man to me. It's not, you can't just put all of that on mental health, because we all deal with the stress of, damn, women don't want to be with me no more. I don't got the job no more. Everybody's dealing with life's ills every day. Life is life for all of us every day. So if we're able to make excuses for lifing, for things not going the way we want to, for relationships not ending the way we think they should, for women moving on and all that, and we're able to make that excuse to justify killing children and killing women, then what are we actually saying? Like,
it could be happening every day, which it is, actually. It's happening very often.
And for me, it's just that I think as black men, we have to remove our own personal feelings and egos and our own, struggles and all those things from each situation and stop applying what you might be going through and putting it into that situation. Because because I deal with shit every day and I know I'm stressed and go through the mind, the kids, this and that and all these things. But there's no situation where I see me killing a woman or killing my kids. There's just no situation. And I think when you get to that point, when you made that conscious decision, for other men to find reasoning and try to, sanitize a situation like that, it's a form of weakness. And it's not disrespect, but I just think that we don't see it that way. I think we've been used to being the victim, in America because we are. Black men and black women are the victim. But when we make our women the victim and our children the victim because we've been victimized, then we've done a disservice to our people as a whole. So I don't really get why there's even a debate online.
No, it's not just online. These are people. This is not just about online.
Well, I'm saying
people
I've
are
seen
discussing this in general.
You're right. I don't see why it's a debate at all, and I don't see why men don't see the need to call the thing, to protect the woman, because that's what we're supposed to do as black men: protect, provide, and make sure that our families are safe. And when we don't do that, we failed, and to not acknowledge that to me is a failure as a man, so that's my piece on it. We didn't get to talk about it last week, but it was something that was deeply on my heart. I put a little post up about it, but it was something deeply on my heart, and I started reading things about it and going over and looking how many situations there have been in recent history. And it's like, nah, this shit is not okay. It's not okay. It goes back to a conversation I had on my live during the pandemic, during when we were in Louisville. And the man was explaining to me how black men protect their women. And I was like, okay, so what if he's beating his woman up? And he's beating her. He said, well, that don't count, as long as he don't let nobody else beat her. And he really rationalized that. He said, we do protect her. Yo, you trying to say because a man beats and hurts his woman he don't protect her if he don't let somebody else do it? I said, no. If you're the problem, if you're the one that beat her, then who the fuck are you protecting her? And he really tried to rationalize. He went on YouTube. We had people that actually agreed with him. And at that point, I knew there was something wrong. You know what I'm saying? So there's just a microcosm. That is just a microcosm of the bigger, overall problem that we're having. That conversation really enlightened me because I was like, damn, I didn't even know that there's people that think like that. Like, that shit is so far-fetched for me.
Saying it publicly.
Yeah, and said it public and got people to stand with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
So,
Well, I don't have anything to add. I think that we just, we're everything is heightened. Everything. And I don't know if other people are paying attention to that, but everything is heightened. We're just in a time where anything that you could think of that's been happening, that is painful and horrific and scary and challenging, it's all heightened. It's all heightened. Illness, people are sick, people going into hospitals, people dying, people killing, people, are really, and we keep hearing these stats that, it's less than it was and we're safer than we've been. And that sounds good to say that because we know block by block, things are safer. But whenever you have a 7-month-old and 2 15-year-olds dead in the same time frame, things are not better. That's actually worse. We're on a downtrend when a 7-month-old is shot in a stroller on the way down the street with, her parents. It's just not good. It's not good. And yeah, I know you're talking more so about the men thing, and I think people already know where I stand on that. But I think as a whole, I even see women drowning their children killing their kids, drowning their children, driving off cliffs. A lot of people are going through a lot of things, and I don't want anybody to kill themselves. I don't want anybody to harm. I don't want anyone to kill themselves. I don't want anyone to hurt anybody else. But I do know that if you make a decision that today is the day that you just can't deal with life, don't be trying to take other people with you, because that, in general, no matter who it is, wife, husband, children, whoever it is, that it's not fair. It's not right, and I still would hope that, people would try to get the help that they need. And there's many ways to do that. There are many hotlines. Most places you could pick up your phone and dial 311. You could even dial 911 if you can't remember 311, and tell them that you feel like hurting yourself. I know it's hard. I know, because you call 911 and you say that, and then somebody comes, they bust your door down, they kill you. Got it. But some kind of outreach is better than no outreach at all. Try something, versus thinking that taking your life or taking someone else's life is the end all be all. And that's for our young people. That's for fathers. That's for mothers. That's for a woman who's hurting over a man and what he did to her, or a man who's upset that the woman is leaving. It's for kids that's angry with one another. I mean, look at this situation. Fighting, pistol whipping, and a gun goes off. That, like, what the fuck do you do with that? Like, what do you do after you've taken somebody's life because y'all thought it was cool? You was going to get points the next day at school, on social media, in the hood, for being able to say that you beat so-and-so's ass. But now it's an ass beating coming.
Yeah.
It's an ass beating coming. And that ass beating is spending the rest of your life either in hiding or in prison. It's not even that it's not worth it. It's literally goes against everything that, that we're supposed to be as a people. Like, what we were. No, I mean, like, our destiny. Like, we literally were kings and queens who were brought here. And the killing was generally, yes, we had turf, we had wars, we had all of that. I'm not saying we didn't. But the masses of our people were not indoctrinated into kids killing kids.
This is true.
We were not indoctrinated into this type of environment. And American civilization, if that's what it is, it's non-civilization. Exactly. But if that's what you want to call it, has transformed our minds and our hearts and our spirits in a way that is very, very dangerous. And so I pray that, more of us, as they try to erase our history, I pray that more of us will go and find our history so that we can become connected more. And if ever I could have one thing that's a dream, is that I would be in the long line and tradition of those who open up a pathway to get our young people into Africa so that they could see for themselves who we truly are and what God really meant for us, So that's all I can say about that. Otherwise, I have no desire to spend my day trying to talk about these men that's killing their wives and kids. I don't even have the capacity. It's draining. It really is.
It's draining, and it's unacceptable. So with that said, we've come to the end of another episode of TMI. Make sure you continue to follow us. This is our second episode of the new season, our sixth season on the TMI show. Make sure you hit us up. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know topics. Who do you want us to interview? We're going to be the #1 show in the world again this season, as we always are. I'm not going to always be right. Tamika D. Mallory's not going to always be wrong. But we will both always, and I mean always, be authentic.
Peace. Listen to the TMI podcast on the Black Effect Network, on iHeartRadio, or anywhere podcasts are available.
Or catch the video version on YouTube at TMI Show PC.